right, welcome everyone to the 10th episode of The Lockdown featuring our guest, CJ McCartney, who is a personal trainer and runs his own hockey school. CJ, how's it going?
Going well. Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
No problem. So obviously, you're a pretty buff guy and you have some tips here for people who are trying to stay fit in this time of this pandemic. What have you been doing to keep your routine the same and just staying fit mentally and physically, of course?
Yeah, that's a great question. Keeping things the same is not really an option for anyone, but I'm very fortunate to work in the fitness industry. And I work in a private gym. It's not like your typical big box gyms like some of those large companies. So it's a private gym. It's a one-off, which fosters a lot of community. It's smaller. There's about a dozen staff in there. So we stay in touch and we all know each other quite well. And I recognize that as my family. And we're all fitness professionals. So everyone has kind of their specialty and everyone has different advice to contribute to the team. So just staying in touch has been huge and trying new things. And obviously we've pivoted quite a bit, which we can get into. But yeah, just having my fit family around me, I consider myself very, very fortunate for that.
And what has that pivot kind of been like? Because this is a really difficult time. A lot of people are finding themselves not motivated. It's a lot harder to work out. I know me personally, I love having that atmosphere of being in the gym. So it's a lot harder to try to motivate myself. So what kind of advice or how are you guys kind of pivoting around a lot of people being in a rut and not being able to meet in person?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. So I actually remember being in our gym in Markham, Ontario. It's called Fit Studios, and I was training myself. I wasn't with the client on the floor. And then our owner came in and said, "Guys, I think today's the day, and we're gonna have to close our doors." So we stopped. We cut all our workouts short and started packing things up, and we didn't know how long it would be. But eventually, a few days later, we had a Zoom, and we decided we're gonna open up a Facebook group to tons of people. We're going to run our live workouts on there. We're going to have lots of fitness and nutrition and health content, because what we recognized is kind of what I said before, which is having that community was huge for us. So we're going to create a new community for our clients, but not only our clients, but just open it up for everyone, whether they're a part of our gym beforehand or not. And then that can help them stay fit, happy and healthy. But also, even when this is all said and done and over with, and I do believe it will be over with, we now have a larger community and more people have been impacted. So we don't just look at this as a barrier. What we've come to look at it as is an opportunity. And we actually grew this Facebook group within a matter of 2 weeks to over 500 people. And again, we're a small gym with a dozen staff. Only about 5 of us are trainers. So 500 people is a lot. So we've had a Facebook group, and the way our gym worked before COVID was we would have up to 3 boot camp group classes a day. We do a lot of personal training. We also have the group boot camps. So we'd have 3 workouts a day. And now we're very happy to be running up to 3 live boot camps per day on Facebook Live. So we've been able to do that and garner some attention and help people out that way. And that's where it all started. But beyond working out is kind of what you mentioned, Jesse, which is having the motivation or the inspiration to actually get moving. It's one thing to broadcast a live workout. It's another to have people join in. So that's where our content piece comes in as well. So each day is a new day and a theme day, and it keeps it light, keeps it fun and positive. And I mean, there's happy moments, there's funny moments, and there's also moments of vulnerability in those chats. And there's been tears, there's been laughter, but ultimately it's grown us all closer to one another, staying united and being together, yet amid a social distancing state. So it's been very cool.
What the transition has been in terms of you're going from doing classes in person, seeing people's form, being able to interact with people one-on-one, to going live on like digital. What have been some of the challenges in just adjusting that for yourself, and how have you kind of overcome those things?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I've said that this has been an opportunity to bring more people in, it doesn't go without road bumps and a learning curve because it is so different. I mean, putting this Facebook group together, like I said, we're a small team of about a dozen people. We don't really have any tech people. So we have had, I think we are on our third or fourth kind of type of group on Facebook. There's a lot of different settings. So we had road bumps there with the Facebook Lives. We've had feeds drop. We've had to change what music we use because they mute videos sometimes due to copyright. So there were lots of road bumps up front for sure. But the biggest one that we are trying to get around currently, perhaps I call it the biggest one just because it's the issue at hand at this state, would be what you alluded to, which is moving from a point being on the gym floor and being able to see your clients and adjust the way they're moving to make sure they're moving most efficiently to get the best workout possible, but also safely. Fitness and exercise can not always be the safest if you're not moving the right way and if you're not moving the way your body's anatomy is built to move. So that is kind of our biggest thing now. On Facebook Live, they can see us. We can display things as much as you like. However, it doesn't always mean that it is going to be perfectly mirrored. And I know even sometimes I think I'm moving the right way. And then if I record myself or look in a mirror, I know there's an adjustment I might have to make. So that's kind of our biggest barrier right now. So we're looking into options and actually talking to a company that does a video service that allows more interaction. Because Facebook Live, like I said, is just one way. We've just opened up some Zoom training. Since that requires a little more coaching and time, and we've made a bunch of pivots and we already have a Facebook group, moving platforms, the barrier there is we have to charge a little bit more for that, doing a Zoom training, but ultimately I believe the reward is there. It's not a lot of money at all. So we've had a few people reach out. We're doing some privates over Zoom, where a coach like myself could be sitting here, do one quick demonstration and then coach through. That's valuable again for the efficiency of the movements, the safety, but also the accountability aspect. Because on Facebook Live, you don't know if they're doing everything you're doing. So yeah, that is a barrier, but at the same time, I like to keep a positive outlook on it because I've said it's an opportunity. And I mean, more people are on their phones and on the internet now and have an opportunity to see us. It's just convincing people that this is of value, which I truly do believe it is. So yeah, we're still looking at ways to keep people safe and see them a little bit more, for the accountability and safety is the biggest one.
Yeah, I totally agree. And before you mentioned something about your health and nutrition, and the one thing I realized is like I think most of us have gone through this slope of when quarantine started. Is like, okay, we'll take a kind of a week off and just settle in, and the gyms are closed, so gyms come after, right? And then you start working out because you realize that your body's aching from sitting down for 18 hours a day. And then you can work out as much as you want, but if you're gonna eat candy and popcorn and everything at night and Netflix and do all that stuff, it's not gonna go pretty well. So obviously, I've started intermittent fasting, so I eat from 11 to 7 every day for those 8 hours, and then that's it. Because I realize that the sooner you stop eating, the better it is to digest. So, what are your thoughts on different ways of like eating your food and digesting, and what do you think about a certain model to be eating right now?
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Just before I even get into strategies, I mean, I tell my clients all the time, and it is the utmost truth, you can never out-train a poor diet. And a lot of people, one of the biggest questions, it's funny, and I'm sure you guys won't find this hard to believe, but people will ask, CJ, how do I get abs? How do I get abs? Should I do this exercise, that exercise? And I tell them, you've got abs, and they don't believe me. But what I tell them is everyone has abs. It's covered by stored fat. And you don't have to be fat or overweight to not have abs. You have to be quite lean for abs to be shown. So everyone's got abs. It's just, that's the nutrition point, and that's the value in nutrition. You can never out-train a poor diet. So just finding ways to stay lean or get leaner. Intermittent fasting you brought up is a fantastic strategy. That is very valuable. I am practicing intermittent fasting myself right now. It's to be decided, and there are arguments on whether the 8-hour windows or whatever it might be affects accelerated fat growth and such. But ultimately, what is 100% confirmed is if you are only eating during an 8-hour window of your day, you don't have as much time to eat as much. And the other thing is it has to be sustainable. If you're going kind of crazy because you hate your diet, it's not a diet that's going to work. It doesn't matter if it works for the first 2-3 weeks, you're not going to stick to it. So my diet that I prescribe to everyone is the it depends diet. That is the answer to many fitness questions. It depends. It depends on what you're eating. It depends on how many calories you are currently consuming, how many calories you currently expend, and it depends on your eating habits and what you like most. Once I know that, I can kind of help people, guide them toward what they like. But for the most part, when I explain what I just explained now, people have a really good idea of what can work for them, and that gives them the freedom of creating a flexible diet for them. And there are many, calorie tracking apps out there, and some people might say that's obsessive. But ultimately, once you get used to that app, within a day or two, you spend 2 to 5 minutes a day on that app just to input your calories. And people find a lot of success. I actually haven't been with a client who has found weight loss success, at least, without a calorie counting app. And also, none of those clients are obsessive and enjoy their lives. They still consume on occasion their favorite treats to keep them sane. And that means it's sustainable. And that means they have everything under control, and that's what's most successful. So for me, I don't cut anything out. I just watch quantity over quality. Quality is very, very important, but you must first and foremost nail down the quantity. And intermittent fasting helps me from not consuming too much throughout the day.
It's interesting that you say finding a diet that works for you, because I kind of made that recognition a few months ago. I was at the time in October, from then until now, I've lost about 45 pounds.
Wow.
And but it was a complete overhaul of my diet and not just working out. And one thing that I live for now is like cheat meals. And I know a lot of people, it's hard to kind of keep yourself in check, because a cheat meal can turn to a cheat day, which can turn to a cheat weekend. So what kind of advice would you give to kind of stay in check, and how much cheating is too much cheating?
Yeah, great question. The way I usually answer that is, I know a lot of people are visual learners, so I don't have a chart in front of me right now, but I'll do some quick math on you guys. Say you are on a diet, so whatever your maintenance calorie range is that's the calories you can consume, which equals the calories you expend in a day. So you won't gain, you won't lose weight if you eat that number of calories every day. So if you're going to lose weight, I drop it maybe, let's call it 500 calories, a round number. So 500 calories per day over a week is 500 times 7, which equals 1,000, 2,000, 3,500 calories. 3,500 calories roughly is equal to 1 pound of body fat. So if you're in a 500 calorie deficit, you will lose 1 pound per week. And that's a good pace. You don't want to lose it too fast. So it's a pretty good pace. So 500 calorie deficit, that's great. Now, if you have a cheat day on one day a week, that can ruin everything. Say your maintenance calories is 2,500 calories, but you drop it down 500. So now you're eating 2,000 calories a day to lose 1 pound a week. If on that cheat day, which is very, very easy, you have a pizza, you have 3 or 4 donuts, and you have ice cream, you can very easily creep up to that 5, closing on 6,000 calories. So if you're eating 5,000 to 6,000 calories, let's call it 6,000 on the high end, that means you're used to eating 2,000. That's your deficit. That's a 4,000 calorie gap. Now remember, by the end of the week, I mentioned 3,500 calories is your deficit to lose 1 pound. If on that one cheat day you've eaten 4,000 calories above, you're actually, by the end of the week, in a surplus of calories by 500. You're not losing anything. So I'd usually show them that on a chart showing this is your maintenance. Here's where you're eating every single day, but that cheat day is way up here. I show that line and that curve. I add up the math at the end of that chart, and they realize, oh my goodness, no wonder I'm not losing weight. People think, what do you mean? I eat healthy. 6 days a week, I'm eating this, I'm eating that. It's just one day. Six is greater than one. Why aren't I making progress? If you do the math by the end of it, you're not making progress. You're actually regressing. So that's the biggest thing. And it's difficult to understand without that chart. So that's what I usually show them. And it's pretty eye-opening. I never understood that for a very, very long time.
CJ, there's so many different, voices right now, more than ever in quarantine. People are looking to be active. What would you tell to someone who's trying to distinguish between those voices of who can they trust? What should they be following? What diet should they be following? What routine should they be doing? And, what would you say to that person trying to distinguish between those voices?
In short, I would tell them, listen to me. But no, you're very right. There's so much misinformation in the fitness world, in the health and fitness world. Not to mention just in our world in general. So we have people saying, I'll use an example I just used with regards to, I want abs. How do I get abs? So many people say, or try to sell their 30-day program or 6-minute abs. Do these workouts every single day. By the end of the month, you're going to have visible abs. For more of the females out there, waist trainers, they sell these waist trainers, and they think, oh, if it squeezes on my waist, I'm going to have that hourglass form I want, which ultimately actually just performs atrophy on your muscles and weakens them, and you will become like a stick, and there will be no shape to you, and it is dangerous because it's made you weaker. But yeah, there's incredible amount of misinformation. So what I would say is, just like when you approach the news, I know a lot of people do this in normal life away from fitness. They're critical thinkers. Post-secondary students, I know your audience, a great percentage of your audience are very good at being critical thinkers and fact checking. That's what I learned a lot in my post-secondary. And that's what a lot of my professors taught me. Do the same thing with regards to health and fitness. This is your body. This is your well-being. If you're going to take care of anything, first, it shouldn't be your car. It shouldn't be your possessions. It should be your body. That is the only thing you can take with you throughout your entire life. So why would you not be a critical thinker and fact check things that affect just that? So critically thinking, doing your research, and making sure if anyone is ever saying, writing, or communicating anything, that it is science-based. It is not just them saying, this is what is best for you, and you believe it just because they said it with a certain tone or because they look the part. There are a lot of influencers that look really great from an aesthetic point of view. However, it's not always the healthiest lifestyle they live, nor is it always the healthiest advice. I have seen plenty of this. I can't give examples. It's not the way I want to start pointing fingers, but just be a critical thinker always. And if you don't understand anything, try to see if it's written elsewhere as well, or ask questions to someone who you truly trust. I know my clients trust me, so they can ask me. Other people might know a trainer in their lives. Find your trusted inner circle and have a discussion about it, and fact check everything for sure.
How do you see the gym lifestyle altering after it all opens up when quarantine is over?
Yeah, I mean, that is the biggest question mark. That is still yet to be decided. I think the fitness industry, with regards to the bricks and mortar workout spaces, the physical buildings, that will be one of the last to open, just because of how close contact people are in, not only with one another, but with being in a space, leaving it, and then someone taking over that space. The health and fitness industry has been one of the, if not the greatest affected industries due to COVID-19. Now that's in two ways. That is twofold. One, I mean, all gyms are closed and they'll be last to open. So that's a incredibly large financial and economic hit. However, I do firmly believe that COVID-19 has fast-tracked the online personal training model by perhaps even a decade. It was always there. It was never kind of the most attractive or most booming thing. Now it is front and center and everyone is pushing it. So that has pushed that forward at least, which is positive. But the gyms that are most successful will be the ones that have found a way to really push this online model. I think that there are going to be a lot of people realizing, the people who have been committed to their fitness during this time, they've realized you can get fit from home. It is very possible. You don't need a gym. You don't even need a home gym, although I think that industry is going to boom as well. It is very possible to get fit from home. Just like with a normal gym, you can't get fit just by showing up once in a while. Anything done with discipline, discipline over motivation, over inspiration, discipline is the biggest thing. Anything done with discipline consistently, you will find and yield incredible results. So I think that's going to be difficult too. So I think that just the clientele is going to be less because people are going to be working out from home either on their own, getting online training, or having a trainer come to their homes. So I think that's taking away. I think then there's also a group of people who would never do it at home but are too afraid to go into the gyms. I hope that's not the case. I don't think that'll be a large population. I think it will bounce back quite a bit. And then again, I don't think the gyms will allow as many people in. I think those are the biggest things. I'm really unsure. It's still yet to be decided, and we're going to be the last industry to get back to full throttle. But I do know people will still be able to find ways to stay fit and healthy, and that's what I care about most. That's what I'm passionate about most.
It's interesting that you bring up like what the future can look like. I never even thought to consider like scheduling to go to the gym, like aside from personal training. That'd be interesting. But you talked about how you can get fit at home and how the home gym industry has blown up. And I kind of want to talk about that because I know a lot of friends who have been trying to build their own personal gyms, and prices have just kind of went through the roof. Like normally people would be paying somewhere around like $1 for a pound, but now people are paying like anywhere from $3 to $4 per pound for like dumbbells or weights like that. So what kind of advice do you have for people to stay fit at home without needing to break the bank?
Yeah, that's great. Staying fit at home. I mean, yeah, I've seen the prices of weights go through the roof. It used to be $1 a pound. I've seen them as expensive as $4 a pound. That means a pair of 50-pound dumbbells, that's 100 pounds in total, becomes $400 for one pair. So it's pretty crazy. I will say this, a tip to get fit at home for an affordable price. You just have to remember the body, our vessels here are incredible at adapting to whatever it throws at it. So with the proper program, if you repeat it rather than throwing whatever at the wall and seeing what sticks and trying new things each day, if you have a proper program laid out for you in place that you can follow, you will garner results. Another thing is that doesn't mean you should follow that program forever, because your body adapts so well, it becomes almost too efficient at what you do. So every 4 weeks, I like to change it up. Me, I've always lifted weights. So what I would do, I would work for 4 to 6 weeks in a low weight, high rep range. After 4 to 6 weeks, after the month, I'd go into a heavy weight, low rep. And those first 2-3 weeks, I'd see big results, strength gains. Now I've been forced, I don't have weights at home. I've been forced to get creative. I've purchased a lot of exercise bands and learn and polish up my body weight movements. And I am getting incredible results. I'm getting very, very strong. And that's just because it's new. The novelty of trying something new and sticking with it for several weeks, I would recommend 4 to 6, is, I mean, so valuable. I mean, when you try something new and you have that program laid out in place, I'm doing all band and body weight. In 4 to 6 weeks, I've just changed my rep count and done different movements. And again, I'm going to see great results. So I would just encourage people to know that the novelty of new movements is incredibly valuable. Stick with it. You will get results. In 4 to 6 weeks, you can alter it a little bit and those results will come right back. So no need to splurge on the weights, the racks, the benches, and all that. I would say go the cheaper option, get the exercise bands, do your research on some body weight movements, and put together your program, whether that be yourself or a trusted trainer. I've been doing that for some of my athletes at my hockey school, and they're getting bigger, faster, stronger, with no weights at all.
Final question before we go, we like to ask everybody, what is the first thing that you are going to be doing once you get out of quarantine? What is the first thing that you're going to be doing when you adjust back to regular life?
First thing, that's a great question. I mean, I'm a social person. this Zoom stuff and FaceTime and it's all so great, but nothing compares to being there with your friends and family. Right now, I'm here with my family. I love them to death, but it's time to go. I need to see my friends. We're going to get together. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to be a blast, whether it's a big shaker or we're going out somewhere to eat. I'm a food connoisseur. I've got a few restaurants high on my list that I miss dearly, so I'll probably round up the boys, and we're headed to Toroni on Yonge and Price Street in Toronto.
There we go.
Yes, sir. Always Italian. Gotta stick with the Italians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's enjoying spending time with their families, but at the same time, I think we're getting to the point where everyone's getting on each other's nerves.
A little bit. I love you, Mom, Dad, Victoria, my sister. It's time to get out.
There you go. Well, CJ, I think that one of the first things I want to do is go back to the gym. But with that, we want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Great insight. I think it's going to help a lot of people in terms of staying healthy at home, staying motivated. And I think if anything we've learned, you get abs in the kitchen.
That's right.
There it is.
That's right. They're built in the gym, revealed in the kitchen. Big time.
There you go. All right, CJ, thank you for your time.
Thank
You
you,
bet,
CJ.
guys. Take care.
Thank you.